Good morning. Hopefully I've got the mic on this time and everyone can hear me. This is my live stream and welcome everybody to this very chilly morning. I won't rehash the old joke I did last week where I talk about it's a dry cold. Dumb dad joke, I know. Well, I hope everyone's doing well on this fourth day of the new year. Wow. Last year went by pretty quick. And here we are at the beginning of yet another new year. I hope everybody was safe and well, and that everyone's in good health, and I hope that everyone had a great new year. And I'm looking forward to this new year season. As you can see, I have some new artwork over here on my bumper, and the most important one is this big piece right down here, which is talking about Phoenix Fan Fusion, which is coming up on May 27th through the 29th here in Phoenix, Arizona at the Phoenix Convention Center. That is my next major show that I'm going to kick off the season with as far as science fiction fantasy conventions. It's been a couple of years since I've been to one, and I have a lot of goodies that are in the making, as you can see by this artwork right here. We're going to be doing Scuttled, which I've talked about before. I will have a reprint of my comics, the collection, the Dungeon Nook collection, which number 1 was out, the premiere issue was out for those few of you who got a copy. And there will be another collection in addition to that. There are plans for a third collection as well as a long form comic, which we've done some of the artwork on this stream for. And then today's subject matter, which is Battle Badges. Battle Badges is a game where you have buttons that you wear and you have icons that you use to do combat with other players. While I was not satisfied with the components, because we have right now 3 colors, we have blue, green, and red, and I didn't like the shield that I have for red. I think here's a prototype of one right here, which is going to be really hard to see, but it is just a square shield with some spikes on it. And of course this is clear, so it's really hard to see. And I just wasn't happy with it. The sword design I'm kind of happy with, which is this really bulky kind of chiselly style sword for the red guys here. I think that works rather well for them, but the shield didn't work for me. So I'm playing around with some shield ideas, and that means I'm going to be working in 3D today. My software of choice is 3D Studio Max. Now I'm using an older version. I'm using 3D Studio Max 2012. A really older version, but it's the one that I have, and it's worked well for me over the years, and I'm going to go ahead and flip us over to that now. And I have the files started up. Wow, no one's in yet, but that's okay. Some good news, go back over to the main camera real quick, is that if you're interested in supporting me, good artwork is fueled by lots and lots of caffeine. And as you can see right down here, I have a way that if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, you can go to buymeacupofcoffee.com/chainreaction. And you can send me some Java love. But that's not required. I mean, I know there are a lot of YouTubers out there and Facebookers who are doing live streams like this. They're trying to do it for a living. I'm not. I want to do games and art and things like that. That's what I want to do for a living, and I would love your support, and every little bit helps me get towards that goal by buying new cameras, new lights. I got an SLA printer, 3D printer, and I have a resin access to a resin 3D printer. Hey, we've got eyes on by Sam. How are you doing, Sam? And this equipment's nice, but we're always trying to improve and get better at what we do, and every little bit goes towards that. So if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, the link is right down here, and I would appreciate it. But that is not the goal. The goal right now is to make products and show what I do, and if people are interested, then hopefully I can answer a few questions or get them started along the path. I am glad you're doing well this morning. So let's flip back over here to where I'm at. And last week I kind of started this because we were just doing random bibs and bobs of art, and I ended up on talking about this and going into this. So here's that square shield I was talking about. I was showing you that I had already done a prototype resin one on, which is, I don't know if you guys see that there, but that's a really small camera, so we're not going to worry about that. And it's okay, but I think something a little more interesting. The idea is something akin to a German iron cross, or I think it's called a Teutonic cross. I could be wrong. Leave comments down below, please, if you happen to know what that style of cross is called besides the Iron Cross from World War I Germany. I kind of like the design that I have right here. It's a good start. In this view right here, you can see I have a grid, and I don't want the shield to be much bigger than these 4 squares here in the grid. Let me make that really big so everyone can see it better. So I have a grid here, and I'm using this as a reference. Also, I have a circle. That's an object, just like what we're working on. I'm just using it as a reference for the magnets that go on the back of these pieces. Each one of these has a, go back to the big camera here, each one of these has a magnet, and wow, that's really shiny, embedded into it. And of course, this being clear, you can see right through it and see the magnet in there. These will be opaque when I'm done with them. But I had to have a reference stand-in for that magnet, and that's what that object there is. So this is so satisfying. I love this sound. That's just a magnet attaching to the button. So I'm going back over here. So I'm going to go ahead and work with this object here. I don't know what it's going to be. I have an idea, and I kind of know where I want to take that idea, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's where I'm going to end up. So I have an object. This started off as a circle that I have manipulated, messed around with, and I did that at the vertice level. So I'm actually going to play around with this a little bit with proportions. I'm going to bring this down, and I'm using that shield in the background as my reference piece. I'm also not really happy with, this is not centered where I want it to be, so I'm going to make this object, I'm going to center this object. Uh-oh, I've made a mistake already. That part of my screen will not redraw, so oh well, we don't have to use that part of the screen. One of the problems I have with this particular piece of software, which is why I'm always trying to upgrade, is Windows 10 and on, so I'm going to assume Windows 11 is going to do it as well, has an issue with the way at least this version of 3D Studio Max draws its screen. So you can see here I have this piece, and it doesn't look like there's anything wrong until I move the screen. You see that? That's where that menu popped up and just kind of burned what was underneath it to the screen. It'll go away when I shut down the software, and it's annoying. This is one of the reasons I don't work in 3D as often as I would like. So once I can get around this, we'll be good. But for now, you know, no harm, no foul. I just gotta, if I get this going on too much, I may shut down the piece of software and reopen it. And for that, I'll apologize for the pause in the video. All right, so I'm going to work predominantly down here. And one of the things I am going to do, this one I think I can do without getting any problems, yeah, is, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to be realistic, and I want to see edge faces. There we go. I don't know why that menu doesn't mess it up, but the other menus do, the little pop-up helper menus. Alright, so let's just kind of, okay, I'm going to make this my top, since that one's buffed up, beefed up, or borked up. And those are technical terms, by the way. I'm going to kind of play around with these. I'm going to do, just kind of play around with the way, see, I can make it real square, and that's kind of closer to the idea that I have. And there wouldn't be anything wrong with doing it like this, and then kind of getting that shape in there, but that's just not quite what I want. But it is kind of the size that I want. I wonder if I can bring it. Nope, that's just going to put it back where it was. Alrighty, so let's back up a little bit here and just play around with this. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the faces. This is something you can't do in Tinkercad, is the way I'm manipulating this object. You can't Oops, that's the whole thing. Dink. You can't manipulate at the face or the edge or the polygon or the vertice level. And of course, with my menu issue burning to my screen, I'm going to be working a little less efficiently than I would normally like. Alright, so ignore this screen. And we have that. So now I've grabbed those edges. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give me a few more polygons to work with. And I'm going to come over here to my Edit Poly, which I'm in. And I'm going to go ahead and do an extrude. And I'm just going to grab, and this is going to create some additional faces. It's also going to create faces across the top, which is fine. It's just not what I really want right now, but I'm not going to worry about it. Then I'm going to grab these vertices here. Oops, I'm done with the. Okay, yes. We liked that. I have to tell it that I liked the change, and then it'll go away. And then just like before, I'm going to do a 2D scale. It's going to make them bigger. It's not right what I want. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do it this way. There's more than one way to skin a cat. We'll make these like that. And it's not going to be precise, but when I'm printing this, it won't have to be overly precise. And then I think we'll take these and do some things with them. And I'm just thinking out loud here. This is by no means the finished product. I mean, this might be too much. You know, it does have that German cross feel to it. But I'm not sure that's what I want. And that's part of this process, is exploring and just pushing and pulling and prodding until you got something you kind of like. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm not sure. So let's take it the other direction. Let's just grab these. And let's play around with doing this with it instead. I'm not sure that's where I want to go either. I'm making this up as I go. Let's see. It's an interesting shape. But for a shield, not exactly where I want to go. Especially for the Fire Nation. Alrighty, let me move some things around here. They're covering my chat window. How is everybody doing out there? I hope you're staying warm wherever you are. I know Arizona is like, oh no, it's a blistery 40 degrees. But there are some places in the negatives in the country, and I want to make sure everyone's okay and safe. So, you know, if you get a chance, just say hi. Let me know what's going on. I did not announce this live stream, just, you know, because I kind of want to get in here and do some work and play around. But I definitely encourage everybody to come in, share it with people you think that would be interested in this, and just kind of see what I'm up to. All right, back to this fiasco. I am not overly happy, so I'm just going to take this back and see how far back I can go. This has, I think, a 20 levels of, yeah, that was it. It's done. All right, so what I'm going to do is, I'm not worried about destroying faces. I do that all the time. I'll tear these vertices out. I'm just going to delete them. And then I'm going to get in here and go, oh no, I'm missing faces. What am I ever going to do? And I will do it on the edge. And then I will bridge. I think it's this one. I will bridge from here to there. Whoops, it's not working the way I want it to work. Hello? Oh, is it face and I can do bridge? Maybe. It's been a little while since I piddled around in here, so you'll have to forgive me. Yeah, this is what I want. Sort of. That's not exactly what I wanted. Interesting. That's not the effect I'm after, though. So let's go back to the edge. And let's go you to you. That's the effect I'm after. So I'm just remaking the polygons that I deleted. And in this case, I'm not too worried about my polygon count. I mean, I can go as high as my computer will handle, because the ultimate goal is just to print something that will 3D print. So I'm just using my edge tool to create some faces and kind of sort of back where I was at. And I think, honestly, the shape I had in my head versus this shape here, I kind of like this shape better. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab all the polygons in this, and I'm going to go ahead and bring them up to the size in question. Yeah, it's not horrible. I think we can work with that. Again, remember, that's going to be that magnet, that cylinder that's in the center. I'm just using it as a reference. And that's not too bad at all. So what I'm going to do is, for now, I'm going to grab this loop, and then I'm going to cap it. Beep, and it gives me a top. And this shape works in that case. But, you know, because this is a shield, it's got to have like a rim and rivets and all that fun stuff. So we're going to grab this, and let's use the bevel tool. Let's play around with this a little bit. Let's see. Let's get a, whoops, other direction. So that make a nice shield rim right there. And then we can sink it in. But I don't think I want to sink it in on this one. So I'm going to say OK to that, and then I'm going to use my extrude tool to go the other way. Whoops. I said the extrude tool. There we go. But it just assumes I'm doing what I did before. Now, since this is going to be 3D printed, and actually while I'm here, let's get rid of that. Let's make sure this is planar to the Z. Okay. Now I can do the extrude the way I wanted and make it a negative extrude. Everything has to be chunkier. When you're printing for 3D, everything has to be much chunkier. But as you can see, if I do this, it's going to expose where the magnet is. Now that is the size of the magnet. So let's go back and let's grab all these vertices. I don't think I need anything fancy. So we're just going to just drag this straight up and just make this thicker, because all the pieces are about yay thick. And then I can decide if I want to do something fancy, you know, like a little bit of a lip or something like that. So this is, you know, a really chunky piece. You know, it's like, that's not a shield, but when it's printed and it's, you know, it's this scale, it actually works, because that sword is that thick, oddly enough. I am not going to make it quite that thick for now. I'm going to move it to here, because I have some ideas. Well, good morning, everybody. Hi, Lori. How you doing this morning? Hope you're staying warm. Alright, so now I can come in here, come back to the face, and now I'm going to extrude this. This is like I said, watching paint dry. And I'm going to extrude this down to, I want a little more room for when it's printed. And then I'm actually going to scale this by hand a little bit, just to get a little bit of a bevel there, which you can kind of see. And if I do this piece here, you can kind of see it there. Then I can play around with positionings and thicknesses and stuff. I tend to have an eye that's a little detail heavy and too small for printers. Warm and caffeinated. Yes. Warm and caffeinated. Art is run on caffeine. I say that often. And this is a great time to break to say that if you want to support me, over there is the link to buymeacoffee.com/chainreaction. Or, yes, Chain Reaction. I had to look. Couldn't remember if it was Chain Reaction or Chain Reaction Studios. Sometimes a name is taken. Every little bit goes a long ways to fueling the caffeine reactor that is my art furnace. So, warm and caffeinated is a great way to be. Alright, back to what we're doing over here. So, I'm playing around with this, and I like it, but it's not sending me. I'll drink to that. Hey, somewhere around here I have a bottle of scotch. It's a wee bottle. Oh, I think it's in here. Hi, it is. It's a wee bottle, but it comes straight from Scotland. I wonder who got it for me. It's always nearby, just in case of emergencies. All right, so I like this design, but it's a little plain, and I'm not digging it. So I made this out of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-sided cylinder. So I'm going to delete those faces, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create a primitive. So in any 3D program, you'll have a set of primitives. Boxes, spheres, cylinders, tortoises. In my case, I have a teapot. It's 3D Studio. It's a 3D Studio Max thing. And you can use these as building blocks. If you've worked with Tinkercad, you'll be kind of familiar with taking primitives and putting them together to do different designs and things. This is a little more, well, I wouldn't say sophisticated, because the Boolean in Tinkercad is amazing. But this gives you a little more freedom, a little more granular control. So again, I'm going to take and I'm going to make a cylinder just for now, and about the size, just a little bit bigger than our magnet. I think will do the job that I want. And now I have parameters here. I can set I literally can set everything in millimeters, which is the scale that I have this at, so that when I build things in so many millimeters, it prints up in that number of millimeters. I can manipulate how many edges and how many sides and height caps, so I don't need all of that. I just need this. And right now it defaults at 18. I want to go to 16. So there's that. Can everyone hear me, by the way? Am I coming through clear? Do I sound tinny? Do I sound like I'm talking through my nose? I like to try to improve the audio setup at some point. But for the moment, I'm going to take this object. This is a brand new object. It's not associated with the object that we have. And I'm going to make I think it's called a shield boss, is what this is called. Sounds good via mobile. No, you sound great. Awesome. Perfect. And now I'm going to manipulate this object. And I'm sorry about this. This is kind of annoying, but I'm not going to shut down the program just for that. And now I'm going to manipulate this object at its base parameters. I'm going to make this a lot. I don't know. Do I want it a little proud of the shield? Because, you know, these are proud of the shield. And it does need to be chunky because it is being 3D printed. So what I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a modifier on it. In this case, I'm going to use Edit Poly, so I can grab these bottom faces and just delete those, get rid of them, and play around with it. And I'm going to grab this top face, and I think I'm going to just play around with its profile just a little bit. I'm learning more and more as I 3D print. There's my movement. And one of the things, so like these spikes on this shield right here, those look big and chunky, don't they? They look like they would hurt. And they didn't print up, they're barely little nubs because they're way too small. So all the details on these shields have to be really just oversized. So that's what we're going to be going for. So I'm going to do a shield boss, and I'm going to play around with it a little bit. And I think we're going to do like, I don't know, a hubcap thing with it, and just kind of play around with this here. But one of the reasons I wanted to make sure this was a 16-sided is so that all of this lines up to a certain extent when I go to put it together. So let's play around with this real fast. Let's use the bevel tool again. This time we're going to bevel it in, and we'll raise it. Nope. We're going to bevel it in. We like that. And then we're going to extrude it. And of course, I could do that all with the bevel tool. I'm just being lazy right now. There we go. And then we'll bevel that by hand, because there's, you know, different ways to do the exact same function. Oh, wait. Yes, we like that. Okay. Have to tell it. Yes, we enjoyed that. All right. So I like that detail for now. It's just something a little bit to not be so boring. And now I'm going to take this object, and I'm going to modify it by attaching the other object to it, which should turn it purple. Yay. And then let's do, oh, you know what? That might be problematic. It will be, but I shall fix. Because I made this 16 for a reason. So let's see what I can do. There are different ways to do what I'm about to do. I think this will be a more fun way to do it, just so you guys can see the bridge tool again. But I believe this will work. We shall see. I'm not overly confident in it right now, so let's just see. Making mistakes, yeah, like this. Yeah, this is definitely a mistake. All right, so let's not do it that way. Let's have some fun with that circle. Let's make it not so circular. Let's see. I like all my vertices and things to line up. It's not important, and I guess I don't need to be this fussy. I don't need to be this fussy, so let's go ahead and continue doing what I was doing, and I'll just deal with it. I won't be as fussy. But what I should have done, like a good little 3D animator, is built everything so that all the vertices and polygons line up. And it's not messy, but since this is just for 3D printing, it's not as imperative, I guess. It's just a little messy, and it's going to make me cringe when I look at all these lines that don't need to be there. But it does give opportunities, so like that could be an interesting detail sunken into the shield, but I don't think it would read well. Because the printer really wants really big chunky pieces, like I was talking about. I'm actually afraid that this rim is too thin to really be picked up, but we will take that risk. All right, yeah, risk. All right, so how am I going to do the rest of this? Well, we're going to take this. Oops. We're going to grab that. Oops. What did I do? There we go. I never know if it's me or if it's my computer getting ready to freak out. We're just going to cap these. All right. And then for my sanity, we're going to click all that, and I'm just going to grab all these edges, and I'm going to make them go away because they bother me. I do not like untidy models. They really annoy me. Now, the way I'm building, by the way, is what I call a watertight. You'll notice that I could have just taken this shield and taken the cylinder and just punched it through and just let it sit like that. And it might have printed okay. But I've seen issues with doing that. So let's see, we're going to remove those. And this is just easier to look at and to work with, in my opinion. So we have a really good start for this new shield. I mean, which one do you prefer? Do you like the white one or the blue one? Let's do this. We're not anywhere near finished, but do you like the white one or the blue one better? I'll put it to you. Which design makes you think Fire Warrior, or red anyway? Makes you think about, if I can get it close enough to the camera. Oh, dude, that's real shiny. This guy. Nope. All right. Put this back here. If you have to step away, it's okay. There's more than one way you can come back and view my videos. Clearly they'll be on Facebook after I'm done, but I'm also uploading these to YouTube, so you have some options. If you get a chance, go over to the chain reaction. There should be a link here in blue because I like it, doesn't block the full quadrant. Fair enough. Blue because it doesn't block the full quadrant. Love it. There should be a link here in the chain reaction about us. It will take you to our YouTube page. In the meantime, let's go ahead and finish blue. Let's see. What other cool thing? So I'm gonna, this is the reason this one's white currently, by the way, is because I have it frozen. And it's just one of the ways so that I can click on this all I want. I can't do anything. I can't make it move. I can't do anything to it. It's frozen. So in order to do what I want to do next, I'm going to unfreeze all, and it's red. And I'm going to leave it red for the moment, just because that way I can, differentiate between the two really quickly. Now, you can see here in this top down there is a circle in here, and that represents the area that this magnet is going to be in. And just to make my life a little bit easier, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to steal that circle. Yes, I know it's messy down here. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. And we're going to grab... Oh, I have a mesh smooth on there. Look at that. Okay. We're going to grab these, and we're going to grab all of that. And we're going to grab that. And I'll actually do this here. I'm going to make a copy. This will become a new object. I'm going to put it roughly where I need it there. That's now a new object. It's its own thing for the moment. Now I'm going to center it to the world, which is 0, 0, 0. If you're not working off of 0, 0, 0, you are doing something wrong. Now, I don't need it off 0, 0, 0 on the z-axis. I just need it in the center of this object here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do what we did earlier with that shield boss, and we're going to attach it to this. So we're going to close that, grab that, modify this. We're going to go attach, and I'm going to grab that. Is not what I wanted. Stop it. Is this not been detached? Did I just make a copy? I bet I did. Which is fine. We can work with it. Let's see what happens when I click that. Yep. For some reason I did not make it its own thing. I lied to you. So it's an easy enough thing to fix. We'll come back down here. We'll grab these faces, and then we will say detach, and we'll make it its own object. That should make it its own object now. Come back over here. Yes. Okay. So back to what we were attempting to do, which was attach this to this. There we go. That's better. Ta-da! So I now know that the magnet will fit here, and that it will be the right size, because I bought a very specific size magnet because of the strength. And now all I need to do is basically just cover this up so it's not hollow. Maybe piddle with the profile of this edge just a little bit. I'm not 100% sold on it. Why did that one not go away? I told you I wanted you to be gone. So let's see. Bridge, create, remove. Bink. Apparently it's decided it needs at least one in there. Okay. That's the program, not me doing that. So now I'm going to hide everything that's not selected. Unselected. So I can work very specifically with this piece right here. And let's see what we can do here. There's a couple of ways to approach this. I don't think capping it will do the job that I want it to do. So what I'm going to do is exactly what I do with this up here. I'm just going to kind of drag some pieces in. I got to get my bearings here. That'll work. I like that. We're going to do the same thing we did. We're going to grab an edge. We're going to bridge the edge. Tink. And we're going to make... Is it you? No, 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 no. We want... Nope. Nope. Stop. Okay, fine. Let's make you. There we go. Now, I don't think this is going to work out evenly. I think this one was an 18 edge sphere. We'll find out. We're making this up as we go. That's half the fun. To quote Bob Ross, it's a happy little shield. Or at least will be when I'm done with it. Like I said, this doesn't have to go into a video game, so my standards are a little bit different for this than I would something that would go into a game. I can be a little sloppier. Put this there. Put this here. So the next step is once I get this to a point where I'm happy with it, I'm going to have to print it and do some test prints just to make sure proportions are where I want them to be and to make sure it prints properly, because that's a whole art form unto itself. And I would show that even in time lapse. It wouldn't be very exciting because these are so thin that the plate that's in the resin doesn't really come out far enough for you to see that there's something sitting there. So me doing a time lapse of these printing wouldn't be very exciting. You just see this machine doing this. That's about it. And these are only, I think, only 8mm thick-ish. I'd have to measure, but okay. So we now have a hole to put the magnet in. And I'm going to, again, clean up this bottom because it is fugly to me. Nope, wrong thing. Uh-oh, I burned my screen. Look at that. Oh, hey. You guys don't see it over here. You don't see. Oh, that's cool. So it is literally a local issue to my monitors. That's interesting. You're not seeing the problem that I'm having. That's okay, cool. That means I can model looking over here then. But for now, we're going to go ahead and make this a perspective. And we're going to turn this into a realistic edge faces, and we'll just work over here for the moment. There we go. So, in me, I have right in here a piece of the previous screen just kind of burned. It's not really burnt. So, but that's cool. I discovered something interesting. I did not know that. That's kind of like when I try to show a pop-up and I'm loading files. You can't see my menu where I'm loading things because this is looking specifically at the application and nothing else. So, interesting. Learn something new every day. So I'm going to clean these up, and it's probably going to get rid of all of them but one. And I think it will be the lowest number one it keeps, or the highest. Probably the lowest. So I'm going to say remove, dink, and there's that one that just stays there for whatever reason. Yes, it's kind of the polar opposite. Okay, so here we are. We have a widget, a thing, a mumble-bobber, whatever you want to call it. And actually, can I do this? Well, this only lets me do it if it's hollow. Let's grab this and then say, hey, we want to grab the whole thing. Nope. All right, I got to do it by hand. Sometimes you can get it to choose a ring, and because this is not really, I think the angles are a little sharper than what it allows it to select as a whole. Now the reason I'm doing this is to make sure I only have this. Sometimes I grab things underneath. Okay. It's so that I can play. Oh, I've burnt this. Oh man, that went all the way up there. Fine. I can play around by making this a little. Let's not do that. Let's grab these two. And I'm talking to myself, I know. Babbling incoherently. That's my charm. Gotta love me. Are you guys enjoying this kind of content? Or do you prefer seeing me do the 2D stuff? Let me know down in the comments, the kinds of things that you want to see me do. Alright, so now I can play around with the thickness of that edge. I like that a little better. And I know this thing's uber thick, but again, it's not when you're holding it in your hand. Alright. I want to put a point in the middle of this thing so bad, but if I do it right, it will hurt someone, so I'm not going to. Again, this is for a game that I'm thinking 8-year-olds are going to be playing, and we all know if I gave them something sharp and pointy, they're going to poke each other. Love this and the 3D modeling, but 2D content is cool too. Okay. That's good to know. Alrighty. Now, I'm getting double comments. Whenever I look at my comment, I get, morning, twice. Warm and caffeinated twice, so forth and so on. But when I accidentally just put it to my page, I was getting single content. It's very interesting. Oh well, such is life. Alrighty. So we have the blockiest shield in the world, but I'm hoping that this will work. Now, what I'm going to do to make it more shield-like, I'm going to break a rule of mine. I'm going to place rivets, little hemispheres, just right on top. This is driving me crazy because I can't see this. This is now completely hidden to me. That's interesting. So I'm going to place rivets probably just at the 4 cardinal points, and then at the southwest, southeast, the crisscross points. So 1, 8. So first things first, I don't want a really high-end object because it's just a waste. But we are going to create, come over here and grab a sphere, and we're going to see how dense that is. Is that the bottom or is that the top? Oh, that is the bottom. How did that get to be there? It's the top, please. Thank you. There we go. Oh, that's because it's creating it as 0, 0, which is where you're supposed to be. Alright, so I don't want anything quite that intense. I also want it to be a hemisphere, so we're going to go 0.5 and 0.5 and basically cut this thing in half. And we're going to, I can use this as a left so I can see where it is in relation, and drag this up here to where it belongs and play around with it a little bit. Now, I'm breaking my rule because I'm just going to sit these into the geometry. I could weld these in and make this watertight. I don't need 32 segments for these. In fact, the more primitive they look, the better. That's good. That's all I need for this. Now I'm going to flip this back over. Ooh. So at least you guys can see what I'm up to. And then I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Yes, I'm using my streaming software so I can see what the heck I'm modeling. Sad. Alrighty. And we're going to, was that X? Is that what I want? 0? Yes. Don't care about Y right now. I just want to make sure it's lined up on X. Alrighty. I mean, I could weld these in there. It wouldn't be difficult. Just be, annoying, tedium, which when I'm modeling makes me happy, so I probably should do that. But first, let's get them all in place before we start going off on tedium. So let's add a modifier to this, and we're going to get rid of the bottom polygons. Can't do that, like I said, in Tinkercad. Alrighty, I think that's good. I think we're going to put one there. And whoops, where's my hello? Oh, aha. Put one here. We're going to make a single copy. Now, if I've done my job right, oops. Beautiful. And then I'm going to turn on my snap tool hold down my shift, snap to 30. Ah, we're going to make 1. Alright, so now we have some rivets there, there, and there, but that's not enough in my opinion. So we're just going to grab one of these, hold down my shift key, and drag one of these bad boys to here. See how I feel about that. Say, okay. Is that going to be what I want? It could be. Let's make another one, do our thing, see what happens. That looks okay. And I'm having to move things out from underneath the areas that I can't see. And we're going to grab that. And we're going to make sure that's a little more 0. 0, whoops. Doing this by eye, so it's not going to be perfect. See if I can, nope, won't let me do it that way. Okay. And then we will take a set for there. Alright. It's a little more shield-like. I don't think those are going to print as boldly. I think they're going to get lost. I honestly think that this little detail will get lost. But I'm going to leave them in there. Just because. See what happens. I will attach everything. So for now, I'm not going to worry about how they're going to sit. We're just going to go modify, attach, and we'll just start clicking on these. There you go. And then if it's prints and it's a problem printing, what the solution will be is to delete the faces that these rivets are sitting on and just rebuild them like I rebuilt this area in here. So that's pretty much at its most basic and simplest how to do some 3D modeling. So what do you guys think about that? I think there needs to be more detail. But I'm concerned that any detail I put in here is going to get lost. So there are sacrifices made. I'm going to change the color of this object to red just to let me know that I approve. There we go. And then I'm going to just unhide everything. So here's all the objects that make up what I've done so far. This is just for size, so you can see that's the size of 4 of the grid squares. So we're going to hide selected. And of course, this shield is not where it needs to be. So I'm just going to move it over here for now. So they're color coded. Red for red, green for green, blue for blue. The maces are going to be for a different class besides the fighter. Right now, all I'm concerned with is sword and shield, sword and shield, sword and shield. Does this new shield, that's unselected here, is it better than the shield I had, which is this one? Or is that one better? And does it fit with kind of the theme that I got going on here? What do you guys think as I drink a cup of coffee? By the way, if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, there's a link. It's shameless promotion. Oh my God. If I become that kind of a YouTuber. Back in my day, phones were attached to the wall. And the people who could talk in the bathroom were rich because they could afford the cord. Anyway. What do you guys think? Let me make this screen big. Of course, I can't see everything, so I'll look over here. Does the new shield fit better? An archer, or, well, we don't have an archer class. Actually dig into one of my rule books here. Oddly enough, I have a lot of the stuff already made up. Alright, so battle, oh my, the glare in here is horrible. Battle badges, the rules, and proposed additional, besides what we have yet, yes, there's no archer class yet. I'm not sure how it's going to work. We have wizard, cleric, ranger. Now, the ranger uses a quarterstaff, which is problematic. You've got to understand that the badges, let's go to the big screen, because this is annoying. So, oops, this way. So the badges are divided into quarters, although you can't really see it, focus, that well here because of all the lighting bouncing around. But the reason he's standing in the Michelangelo pose is that he is standing across 4 quarters. And the object of the game is you take your weapon of choice, in this case a sword, a mace, an axe, quarterstaff, daggers, claws, depending on what you're playing, and you place it in one of the 4 quarters. That's your attack. And then you take your shield and you place it where you're wanting to defend. And you do this hidden so that no one can see what you're doing. And then when you're ready, you and your opponent reveal your badge. And then, oops, again, you take this quarter, go straight across to the mirrored quarter on his or hers badge, or their badge, let's be all inclusive here, to see if they've been hit. If the sword on your badge hits an empty spot on their badge, then you've scored a hit, and then they take their life and they move it down 1 notch. If it hits a shield, then you don't score a hit. Shields never do damage. So an archer, though a great idea, I'm not sure how it would fit into this mechanic just yet. We do have fireballs for the wizards and shield spells for them. We have daggers, but the rules for daggers are more akin to how many bonuses you can get and whether or not if you hit with both. If you're lucky with daggers, which is a rogue, and you get both daggers in and you hit 2 empty slots, which of course means you're getting hit, then once a game you can declare to do an uber amount of damage, and so that's the advantage of the daggers. The arrows, I don't see them superseding shields. In fact, I don't know if I have anything that ignores shields just yet, except for I think fireballs. And I'm not sure how an arrow mechanic would work. Plus, I have to print these things. These weapons are nice and chunky. Actually, let's get it one that you can see better. Yeah, this one's in black. Nice and chunky for a reason. 1, you have to be able to handle them. They're fairly small. 2, I didn't want to print up a 4 or 6 inch badge, for you to wear to do this game. It had to be a reasonable thing to do, and they have to fit in a quarter area. So arrows, and I'm already having issues with quarterstaff. Not thick enough to print without it breaking, somebody's running around, because these are designed to be played at a convention. And so one of the reasons I chose the heavy magnets that I did is you're going to be wearing your badge, and your armor and things are going to be in the back of the badge. And so when you're playing a game, you just reach over, you grab everything that you want to play, and you shouldn't have to take your badge off, and then you can just play the game. Of course, don't cover up your character's face. Then you can just play your game like this, and when you're done, you put everything in the back. Well, if you're handling these things that much, a quarterstaff is problematic right now, but an arrow or a bow I think it would be too thin, and I think it would break. Yeah, it could be a head with no shaft, and then, you know, might as well just print up a tip of a sword. There are a couple of ways. The daggers are also going to be problematic because they're going to probably use smaller magnets. So that solution might apply to both the quarterstaff and an arrow. I haven't worked out all the kinks for the expansion characters. So the game will launch. It's called Battle Badges, which is, oops, other side. It's right here. It's the logo on the far right, the blue one. And it will be available at my booth in May for you to come and buy and pick up and play with your friends. This is a social game that can be played at distance. That was kind of important considering the world right now. So you can play this game as long as you can see each other's badge. You can play this game. So 6 feet is probably the perfect distance. It's also designed that you can gather groups of people together to fight more powerful badges. There are more powerful badges. Or an opponent who's really, really good, and you can team up on an opponent. And there are rules for that in the game. So when these are available, they will only be available at my table. I will not be doing these online. You cannot order these from me and have me send them out to you. Nothing like that. The only place that you can get battle badges will be at my table at a convention. And as time goes on, the expansion characters are in the rules. You can play around with them. But if you want an actual wizard and with the wizard icons and things like that, or ranger or cleric, and as you can see, the clerics have these maces. Let's come back over here. Have the maces. Now this one's a little too ornate. It doesn't print very well. But this one and this one, not a problem, because they're really simple and they're over exaggerated. But as you can see when I get down here on the side, see how thick that mace is? And that really helps. These are really not that thick. I mean, coming back over to here, they're really not that thick. They look huge on, you know, in the program, but they're just not that thick, and that's perfect. There's a lot to work out, yes, Sam. Definitely a lot to work out, and a lot of opportunities to create new characters and new mechanics. But I think the fighters are going to be a good place to start, so I'm not too worried about the maces. I'm not too worried about daggers or quarterstaffs at the moment. I want to see if people enjoy this game, and if they do, then we can expand it easily. And then it'll be worthwhile trying to figure out, how do you make an arrow? I like the idea. I really do. I think it's a great idea. But gotta get the basic game out there. So we're coming up on an hour. We're about 58 minutes plus into our hour. I want to thank you all very, very much for coming out and watching me just piddle. I can doodle in 3D like some people can doodle with a pencil and paper. And I do make, let me, while I'm here thinking about, let me save this. This would be a wise thing to do. I have autosave on. If you guys really want to see me do more 3D modeling, please leave a comment. If you want to see me do more 2D stuff, leave a comment. If you want to see me work on comic books, or you want to see me work on postcards, or if you want to see me work on just prints in general, leave a comment. If you want to see me work on very specific things in 3D, well, yeah, again, leave me a comment. I would love to see the kinds of things you guys want to see me work on, and the kinds of things that I do. I mean, I even have my own TARDIS. I mean, come on. What does one do when one has a TARDIS? About anything you want. So, I am not opposed to sitting around and showing off some of the models that I may or may not still have laying around from my video game days. and talking about that process, because there are different approaches depending on the engine you're working in, on how, like, this TARDIS would not do well in a video game environment, although the box itself would, but the details wouldn't. They're just too high end. I'd have to strip them down. But let me know what kinds of things you guys want to see. Let me know if you're enjoying this content. If you want me to do something different or more specific, I'm always open to hear ideas. But for now, I am going to have to end the broadcast. I want you guys to understand that you are loved. You are very loved, and you are deserving of that love, and you are worthy of that love. So don't be so hard on yourself. The world is going to do that for us. So keep that in mind. Stay safe. Have an amazing year, and I will see you guys next week. I want to do some more 3D modeling next week, but we'll see where the wind takes us. It depends on what people ask for, all right? In the meantime, thank you very much. My name is Jeff Perryman. This has been Vectors and Pixels, my live stream, and I am the chief artist of Chain Reaction Studios. Thank you for coming by. Take care, guys.